Hello, it's me, Amelia. Welcome back to my channel. I think I just said that for the first time in like 3 years. So I'm in New York City. I just landed about 10 hours ago, and then I got to my hotel and I slept. And we're about to go meet one of my favorite authors, Tahereh Mafi. And I only came here to meet Tahereh Mafi for her book launch event for Watch Me, a new book in the Shatter Me series. It's about Warner's brother James. I'm so excited. The book is releasing tomorrow, so basically like midnight tonight. So she's hosting like a, what is it called, a midnight launch party or something. And by the way, I live in Qatar. I live in the Middle East. But when I saw that she posted this, I was like, listen, I'm a flight attendant, which means I can be wherever I want, whenever I want. I can attend any event that I want to around the world. And that's how I went to 10 Taylor Swift concerts. That's how I went to like the randomest things, like the Cannes Film Festival. So I saw she posted about the midnight launch party, and I was like, in New York City on April 14th? Okay. And then I went on to like I bought the ticket. I don't even know if my airline's gonna give me the flight. I bought the ticket. And then I went to the website where we request flights. We can request 10 flights per month. And I've had months where I got nothing, and I've had months where I got like 6 things. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna request 2 things. One, I'm gonna request Adelaide on April 4 because my sister is gonna be in Adelaide, Australia on April 4, visiting her friend, and I haven't seen my sister in a long time, so I requested Adelaide. And then I requested New York City on April 14 so that I can attend this event. And I'm like, God, please, like I'm just gonna ask for 2 things, like please give it to me. And it's even harder when you request a flight on a specific day, because if you don't put a specific day, there's like 30 chances for you to get it for like each day or whatever for the whole month. But when you say like I only want it on this day, then like the probability is so low. But they still gave me both of them. I just came back from Adelaide last week, and now I'm in New York. I literally was thinking, like, do I bring my Unravel Me arc for her to sign? Even though it says, like, no signings allowed. And then I called my sister who's in Bangkok. And because we're going to meet up in Adelaide, and all my books are in Bangkok, by the way. We're going to meet up in Adelaide. I was like, can you please bring me, like, my Unravel Me arc so I can get her to sign it, even though it says, like, no signings allowed. And then she went to my room, and she couldn't find the Unravel Me arc. And I know why, because it's in a box, because I moved. And then I packed it in a box, but there was like 10 boxes. But however, on the bookshelf, we had the Shatter Me arc. And although I wanted my Unravel Me arc to be signed, I brought the Shatter Me. I made my sister bring the Shatter Me arc to Adelaide. And it actually says like no signings allowed. Like you're not allowed to ask the author to sign. Do I care? Do I care? I actually do care. I know that it's not gonna get signed, but I brought it just in case I run into her after the party on my way home or something, you know? Yeah, but I guess it's more like symbolic for Shatter Me to be signed more than Unravel Me, because it's like the first Shatter Me book and it's older. However, I'm an Unravel Me girl, so, but it's okay. But let's see if we're gonna get this signed. I already know the answer is no, because they explicitly stated it. No photos, no signings. No photos with the author, no signings. And I get it. There's gonna be a lot of people, there's no time, and it's just to like Q&A and like have a lot of they listed like all the activities that's gonna be there. So exciting. There's a bracelet making station. That's all I remember actually. Q&A. There's a trivia, and there's gonna be a winner. So I'm thinking like, girl, you're totally gonna win. But then I'm like, I haven't reread Shatter Me in like 5 years plus. I read it when I was like 12. So then I was like, girl, you're not gonna win. But also I reread Unravel Me all the time. So if it's like an Unravel Me trivia or Ignite Me trivia, like I will be the winner. And then I'll meet her, and then I'll ask her to sign. No, I won't. I don't remember anything, guys. I hope that everyone there like also forgot everything, because that's gonna be super embarrassing if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, and they ask me a specific question, and I'm just like, I literally don't even know who this character is. Like, I hope we all forgot everything. I'm super excited, guys. I read Shatter Me when I was like literally like 10 years old or 11 years old. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Probably 11. So this is just kind of like a monumental moment for me because I'm 24 now. And I'm gonna meet, oh my god, I'm so excited. And she's Iranian and I'm Iranian. So, I don't know. We're connected. Anyways, let's go because I'm gonna be late.
I've heard it's really good. Also, the cover is. My friend read it and she recommended it too.
So I'm hiding because there's too many people, but I bought a bunch, I didn't buy them yet, but I got a bunch of like signed Shatter Me books. I already have every book signed, but these are like different. Like I don't have these specific editions, so anyways, I'll do a little haul when I get back to my hotel. But I just got a little Shatter Me trivia paper, so I'm gonna answer all the questions and then submit, and then they'll pick a winner at the end of the night. Yeah, let's pray I get all of it correct. Let's take this quiz together. Complete the first sentence of Shatter Me. I have been locked up for 365 days, 264 days, a crime I did not commit. I know it's days, but I don't know how many days. I'm thinking 365. Good thing I'm buying the book so I have it. Listen, I was gonna say 264 because 365, it's like, you know, it can't be exactly a year, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I knew the answer. What date was the first Shatter Me book published? Okay, November 15, 2011, September 17, 2012, October 11, 2011. I know it's 2011 because I was 11. October. I don't know, girl. I'm sorry, but I searched the answer, but I am right, it's 2011, November 15. I thought maybe it was October, but anyways, sorry for cheating, but I need to be the winner, I don't care. How old is Julia in the first book? She's 16. Oh, she's 17. She's 17. I'm writing 17, I'm not gonna cheat. She's 17, because I remember thinking like, oh, she's 17, Warner's 19, that's such a cute age gap. I remember thinking this when I was young. How many years older than James is Warner? I need to ChatGPT this. Skip. Who said the following line? I'd follow you anywhere. You're the only good thing left in the world. I don't know. Either Warner or Adam. Who said the following line? You know, you have a really strange way of telling me you're attracted to me. Warner. I know this is Warner. Wait, you're the only good thing left in the world. That has to be Adam, because that's such an Adam thing to say. You know, you have a really strange way of telling me. That's Warner. Wait, that's Kenji. No, it's Kenji. It's Kenji. Which book came first? Restore Me, Define Me, or Imagine Me? Restore Me. Restore Me. Yes. What is Warner's mother's first name? Lila. I know I'm smart. What is the very last line of Ignite Me? I'll always be by your side. I'll never be anyone's prisoner again. I can't wait to watch them try. I can't wait to watch them try. Iconic. What is Warner doing the first time Juliet sees him smile? What is Warner doing the first time Juliet? He's playing with a dog. Kissing her, playing catch with James, petting a dog. Petting a dog. True or false? In Restore Me, Juliet finds out she has a brother. No, she has a sister. False. True or false? Nazira is crushing on Kenji. Yeah, true. Where did Juliet first meet Warner? When they were babies in Sector 12, Sector 45 on the street. Well, they probably don't mean when they were children. Sector 45. What is Kenji's superpower? Invisibility? Yes. Yes. Who is the founder of Omega Point Castle? Okay. The only thing I didn't get is You said I'd follow you anywhere, you're the only good thing left in the world, because now I'm thinking it's either Warner or Adam, but I circled Adam. How many years older than James is Warner? James is probably like 8. Warner is 19, so that's 11 years, but that's not an option. Which means it's probably 9 years, because that's the closest to what I was thinking. Okay, let's pray for the best. Am I gonna ChatGPT this? Google this. I don't support AI. Okay, I'm committed to my answers. I might ChatGPT this. So I googled the ones I was unsure about, and I was correct in all of them. So also, for anyone wondering what I'm waiting for, the thing is divided into 3 sessions. So there's session 1, session 2, session 3, and each session is 1 hour with the author. And I'm session 2, so it's currently the time for session 1. So I'm doing like the different activities that they have while you wait, including the trivia. And next I'm gonna go to a bracelet making station or something. Guys, they have like a spin the wheel thing where you can spin for a temporary tattoo, a tote bag, or a page overlay, but the queue is literally like 100 people, and my Q&A session is starting like right now.
AC Reads. Hi everyone. Hi guys. Hi. Good to see you. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for being here with me. How excited are we for Watch Me, guys? It's definitely
A movie in a time of difficulty and darkness. You know, I think I didn't actually know this. I learned that, like, you know, it's sort of like an anxious tendency to rewatch your favorite TV show because it's, you know, what's going to happen, and you're revisiting your favorite characters and in a familiar world. And I think I gravitate toward worlds I've already created with characters I love, because it's such a place of comfort for me, and it can be so cathartic to come back.
His father is very complicated, and his brother's very complicated. And he was a child coming into all of these moments and had been abandoned as a semi-orphan for long periods of time and had seen some really dark things. And I wanted to explore life from his perspective as a young adult. And so it's his story, but he's still with his family. And so you get to see all of your favorite people again, and they're still very much a part of that world, but he's sort of forging his own path.
Can we expect to see any parallels with James and Rosabelle?
Yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs in these books. If you're familiar with the series, you're gonna see things that, you know, like James, when you first meet him, he's been locked up, and that is very much like Juliet. When, you know, when the Shatter Me series opens up, she's been locked up, and you'll see, like, Rosabelle is like kind of like a girl Warner, but not really. She's her own person, but you'll see some parallels in in some of their characters and some of their experiences, and some of it's intentional. You know, it's just like me leaving little Easter eggs for people, for discerning readers, to sort of reward careful readers. But James is definitely a combination of his brothers and Kenji. So he's got, you know, kind of a golden retriever energy, but also like a very casual murderer. Like, he's very comfortable.
I know you've mentioned that we don't need to read the previous Shatter Me books to understand what's happening in Watch Me, but do you think it significantly changes our understanding and just appreciation for what's going on?
It is my hope that it is not significantly necessary. I really did want Watch Me to be like anybody could enter this world at any time, but of course it will be a far richer experience if you have familiarity with the Shatter Me series. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to leave. You know, if you're looking closely, you'll be like, oh, that reminds me of something I remember from the Shatter Me series. That was intentional.
I'm looking forward to it. I just don't know what to.
Well, I've already written the second book, and yes,
That's scary to hear.
and I don't want to commit right now to a specific number of books in the series, but it is. I will say that it is a series, and I have big plans for, how I hope everything will unfold. This is like its own arc, its own journey, and you'll meet new characters, and it will be. I hope it will be a lot of fun.
Someone out there is wondering, will there be a possibility of a Kenji and Nazira spinoff? Hashtag Kenji forever. And I agree with that.
So I have considered this question for a long time because I get this question a lot. Like, people have asked me for a Kenji Nazira novella, or Kenji gets his own book or something like that. And what I will say is that when I really thought about it, when I really thought about their journey and how it might go in a realistic way, I decided to basically give you that story in this series. So you will see their relationship in this series, and you'll get to be with them for that journey. So trust the process, hang in there. I do not plan on letting you down, but just hang on.
So I take that to mean we are getting adequate Kenji content.
Oh yeah.
My king is coming back.
And in the second book, so much more. You'll get much more Kenji Nazira content in the second book.
I know we don't even have the first book, but can you give me like one word to describe the second book? I'm just really scared. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm shaking.
The second, I think the second book is like really intense.
That's not what I needed to hear.
I think intense is a good thing. I'm a very intense person. Ask my husband.
Can we get corroboration on that? Head nod.
I think in a good way.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
In a crazy way.
Do you think it's easier to write funny characters like Kenji or more serious characters like Warner? And do you have a preference?
I think I need both. I can be very intense, and I can also, I think, be pretty silly. I have 4 older brothers, and they are hilarious and ridiculous, and many of the things Kenji says have been lifted from actual conversations I've had with my brothers. So they inspire me. Like, Kenji's relationship with Juliet, or, the way he, like, that's how I talk to my brothers. Like, we're very close, and they're very funny. There's this scene in Unravel Me. I've talked about this before, maybe you already know this. There's a scene in Unravel Me where Juliet's telling Kenji to lower his voice, and he says, he refuses, and she's like, why not? And he's like, because if I lower my voice, then I won't be able to hear myself speak, and that's my favorite part. That's something my brother said to me. We were outside in my mom's backyard, and we were having a heated argument. I was like, lower your voice, like the neighbors can hear. And he was like, no. I was like, why not? And he said, because if I lower my voice, I won't be able to hear myself speak. And that is my favorite part. And I stopped him right there. I got out my phone, and I was like, I gotta write this down. So I do that with some frequency.
For the good of the world, I hope at least one of them is pursuing a career in comedy, but
they don't even know they're funny. It's just...
And never tell them that. As someone with a brother, never tell them that.
Don't give them.
No, they'll take it too far. So a little bit more about your writing process, I guess, because you're so inspired by your brother. Are there any other inspirations that you kind of come across in your daily life?
Oh, I don't know if it's really... I was saying before that I think I've realized I have themes, so I come back. The first time someone pointed out to me that I had themes, I learned this from a reader. Like, they were like, so I've realized that you have these themes in your book, and I was like, whoa. First of all, don't perceive me. That's rude. But I didn't get it. I didn't know that you could have themes, and I thought it was a bad thing to be so obvious. And then I realized that that's what all authors do for the most part. And so I kind of embraced it. I was like, oh right, yes, I have themes. That's what I do. I reach for these sorts of
questions over and over again. And so I don't know if I'm always aware of what I'm being inspired by. Sometimes it takes me a few years to reflect and unpack what I was thinking about or what I might have been influenced by, or something that I might have been perceiving in my life at the time. But sometimes it's active. I'm like, oh, this is a funny line, I should keep it. But sometimes it's more reflective.
So on the theme of themes, I guess, what do you hope readers are taking away from watching itself? Do you have anything in mind that you know now that is a central theme?
I mean, I think at this point, there are a couple of things I strive to do with the books I write. One is to tell young people that their pain matters. I think I grew up as an intense young person who often felt like the grown-ups around me didn't really acknowledge my pain or my feelings. And it's so unfair because when you're a young person, you're feeling these big things for the first time, so it's all you've ever known. But because of your age, the adults around you think that what you're feeling is fairly insignificant. You know, oh, well, compared to what I'm going through, it's not that big of a deal. But when it's all you've ever known, you know, I try to remind myself this about my daughter, you know, like when she was 5, I'd be like, well, she's 5. It's a big deal for her. Like everything she's experiencing is the biggest deal it's ever been because she's never felt it before. So I try to remember that about my own experiences growing up. I think it's really important to be able to reflect that with every story. And I think at the end of it, what I'm ultimately trying to do is to infuse every book with a sense of hope. And if the books I write are able to provide you a moment of respite, you know, just a place to rest your mind and escape for a little while and find a place to laugh or cry or friends to share some time with, then I've done my job.
And I love that about your writing. I think the hope that we see is just so apparent, and it definitely makes you feel good by the end of the series. You see this crazy journey that these characters have been going on, and it just wraps up so beautifully.
Thank you.
So, kind of, I guess, a little bit more personal, is how do you navigate or experience being such a well-known and loved YA author? I mean, you kind of talked about how you felt, I guess, as a young person, so kind of how does that translate now as an adult, but also having fame on top of that?
I think we talked about this a little bit before, that it's a strange dichotomy. I spend most of my time being alone, very quiet in a room, working, you know, talking to the voices in my head, essentially. And so to do things like this is very different from my day-to-day. For the most part, I'm a fairly sedate person, and I don't really go out a ton, you know, I don't do things like this all the time. But I like to think that being an author is what I do, it's not who I am. And I think it's really helpful for me to remember that my writing and the books that I write, like it's a small part of who I am. And I don't think it's healthy for me to get my sense of self, my identity from my career, because I want to be remembered by my family, by my loved ones, by the people who matter most to me. I want to be remembered for who I was as a person, not for what I did professionally. So I try to hold those things in my head.
That makes so much sense, yeah. So you mentioned that you're basically secluded while you're doing your writing,
Yeah.
and does that kind of lend its way to having any fun writing rituals? Anything that you can do in the safety, knowing that no one else is watching you?
Well, I share an office space with my husband, who's also a writer, Ransom Riggs. He's standing right there. I don't know if you're familiar with the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children books, but I'm a big fan, and it's really great to share space with another author. And so he's part of my writing rituals. When I'm on a drafting deadline, and I can't, this is not a super sustainable lifestyle, and I'm not recommending it, but when I'm on a drafting deadline, I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm at my desk at 3. My husband and I would do this together. And that is
like one of the best things I have ever done for myself. I love it. I love that quiet time. I'm one of those people who can get really, I get that like sensory overload very quickly, and if I don't have time to just be quiet, it sort of sets me off kilter for the rest of the day. So I really enjoy having that quiet time when nobody needs me, when my daughter's still sleeping, everything is just really peaceful, and I get to watch the sun come up.
That's like, just the visual of that just seems so calming. Like,
So,
wow.
I light a candle. It's very chill.
So, kind of going back to, I guess, the characters. Now that James is all grown up, is there anything about his personality 10 years later that you think readers will be surprised by?
He swears a lot.
I think we can guess who we picked that up from.
Yeah, and Warner is very upset about this. I had no control over this. It just happened. I'm really sorry.
Do your parents read your books? And how do they feel about this? Like, I know obviously some of the Muslim parents, like...
Yeah, you know what's funny is my mom is just sort of like, she doesn't really. Sometimes she reads my books, and sometimes she's like, I skipped that part. I'm like, that's cool. You probably shouldn't have.
And are there ways that James and Roosevelt relationship is similar to Warner and Juliet's?
Sometimes, right? Like Juliet is like sunshine, and Warner's. What did Kenji said this one? I think it was in Believe Me. He was like, she's like sunshine, and you're like a thunderstorm, and together you make rainbows or something. It was meant to be cheesy. So, you know, Juliet is definitely so much trauma, but she's still optimistic and hopeful about the world. And Warner is like, I don't care about anything except for you. So as long as you're in the world, then I can be optimistic. And otherwise, he's kind of a downer. And lovingly so. James is optimistic and funny, and you know, he has this healing ability. I don't know if you remember, little James was just discovering that he has this healing ability, and I really wanted to explore his burgeoning power and the trauma that he had experienced, you know, against the backdrop of that dystopian landscape and all of these difficult experiences he'd had as a result. And in imagining him as an adult, it was really cool to see him on the page become this very carefree, sort of casually violent person. He's very funny, but he thinks he's kind of like a superhero, and Warner's always trying to check him, you know, because he has this healing ability, so he can do whatever he wants, and he just kind of heals. And he has to kind of check that and learn to manage his power and still be smart about it. So he is always getting into trouble and trying to prove himself, because he was this kid who was always crying for his big brother every night because he was having all these nightmares. And now he's like, all right, I'm grown up now. Like, you have to take me seriously. So he's funny and interesting and on this journey. And Roosevelt is, like Warner, deeply traumatized, like raised in the grip of the reestablishment, and sort of hides all of her emotions internally. And they're kind of, you know, they're foils for each other.
Are the foils always intentional that you're writing between like the parallels with Roosevelt and Warner?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. Also scared, but I'm excited. So what are you personally most excited for with Watch Me?
I'm really excited to share the book with you guys. I'm excited to be back in the world. It feels really fun and interesting for me. I like these characters. I like being with them. They are still interesting and fun for me, and it's such a comforting place to rest my head sometimes. Despite the bleak landscape, I get to animate them, and it's such a found family experience, and they love each other. Like, they fight, but they love each other, and
it was just really fun to get everybody back together again and see them in their various journey, on their various journeys.
So you took a little break with the Shatter Me universe to write this Woven Kingdom series. So what's like the headspace difference when you're writing one versus the other?
James is a relief. He's so funny. It's really, the writing style is so different from the Woven Kingdom series. I'm writing a fantasy series simultaneously. It's like a romantasy series simultaneously. The 4th book is coming out this September. And those books are so intense. I love them. But it's kind of a relief to jump into something so different. So it helps balance the space in my head, actually.
I'm being nosy, but can you tell us anything about Every Spiral of Fate?
Oh, I mean, do you like yearning? It's.
Do you need to ask that question? Does she need to ask that question?
Those are like the epitome of, for me, like that's like the height of yearning for me. I live for those.
You're just like have things hiding behind other papers.
Oh man, no, it's not. I journal. I write everything down. I ask questions and I make notes, and I will literally ask the question. That it helps me sometimes to unlock the way that I'm thinking if I'm stuck. Say, okay, why is this happening? And then as I write the question down, something sort of unlocks. And then I just write pages and pages and pages. And then I make notes for every book. And then every time I write a new book, I reread all the books and I make notes for every book. So I like make all my own little story Bibles.
Like in physical copies?
Physical, yeah. Like when I die, you burn everything. I don't want any, like you hear these stories about like authors dying and then like everybody finds all their notes and I'm like, God, that's so embarrassing.
Is there a reason specifically why you choose a physical media instead of a digital media?
Yeah, I'm so sick of looking at screens. I love the tactile feel. Imagine like if I'm drafting, sometimes I'm sitting at my desk. I do have days where I draft for like 10, 12 hours straight. And by the end of it, I'm like, take my eyeballs out of my head. So I really love any opportunity to just pen and paper. I'll go outside, just, my favorite thing is to just like stare at the grass. Touch grass, is that what the kids are saying? I like to touch grass.
Any final comments you want to leave us with for Watch Me?
I just want to say thank you for being here. I can't believe you're here. Thank you for coming out on a Monday night. You guys are amazing. If you've been here for the books all these years, thank you for being here. Thank you for still being here. It means so much. I write alone in a vacuum, and to know that you guys exist is just magical. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this evening with me.
Thank you guys.
There you go. Have a great night. You too. Yeah, have a good night.
I'm back in my hotel. Let's do a little haul situation. So the first book that I bought is Shatter Me. It's a special edition, like collector's edition or something. And I wasn't gonna, actually when the author posted about it, I think a few months ago, I wasn't gonna get it because I was like, I have already a lot of Shatter Me books, different editions, I don't need this. But then I went to the bookstore and it was like signed edition because obviously the author is visiting or something. And I was like, you know what, I need a little souvenir that I like, saw her. So yeah. And then I got All This Twisted Glory, which is the 3rd book in this Woven Kingdom series. I read book 1, I read book 2. I started this book months ago, but it was kind of boring for me, so I stopped reading it. But I do want to finish it one day because I know the series is going to keep continuing and I want to be updated. So I will continue reading it. Yeah, and also they only had 2 of these signed. Maybe other people already took the other ones, but there was only 2 in stock and another girl grabbed one, so I was like, mine. So next we have Shatter Me signed in paperback. I have a lot of signed Shatter Me's. However, it's like different editions and none of them are like the original cover. So I was like, the original cover is signed. Let's get it. I love the gold. But yeah, this came with the ticket to the event because obviously it's to celebrate this book launching. And you know what? Honestly, like since she announced this book, I never really thought about it. But then coming to the event and watching her talk about this book and her writing process and different stuff about the book, it made me so excited. It made me so excited. I was thinking like, I'm gonna come back to the hotel and read this. I just looked into my bag and I don't know how that happened. I got Unravel Me and I got Ignite Me signed because I have these two in paperback, but they're not signed. And they're like my favorite. It's my favorite cover. I feel like there's different covers, but this one is my favorite. So I had to get it. So now I have like all 3 paperbacks signed. So now I don't need the 3 paperback I have that's not signed. But actually I do because I've had them forever and it's like memories. It's the one that I read it on, you know? So I got this tote bag. There was a little spin the wheel thing and there were 3 things to pick between, to raffle between. So there was this tote bag. There was like a temporary tattoo, which was kind of ugly, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I really hope I'm not getting that. And then there was the page overlays, but the thing about the page overlays is like, if you submit your receipt that you bought this event, they're literally gonna mail you the page overlays to your address. And I already submitted my receipt and gave my address, so like I'm already getting the page overlays. I didn't want the tattoo, so I was like, please get the tote bag. And then I said to myself, even if you don't roll a tote bag, like you're gonna grab the tote bag, and if the staff stops you, you're gonna fight. But thankfully it stopped on the tote bag and I didn't need to fight. Next I got these 2. It's like eye stickers. A lot of people were wearing them at the event and I was like, where did y'all get this? And then I went to a random girl and I'm like, where did you get this? And she pointed at a table where they were like giving them for free. So the girl at that station gave me 2. So I'm very happy. Most people got 1. But because I went there like when the event was about to end and they still had so many left, she was just like giving a bunch out. So yeah, I'm excited to wear this to like a concert or something. I'm seeing Lana Del Rey, I think, so I don't know, we'll see. Last but not least, there's this Haribo. Oh my god, I can't eat Haribo, it has pork. No, unfortunately I didn't get my Shatter Me arc signed. There was like way more people than I thought. I thought maybe it would be like 20% of the size, and I thought that I might have a chance to like interact with her or like walk past her or like, I don't know. But it was very like, it was much more exclusive than I expected. She like entered the stage, she talked, and then she like left the stage and like she was gone. I want to talk a bit about something though, because I swear like I almost died at the event. I thought the event organizing was great, except for something I'm gonna talk about soon. The staff were so friendly. I was like shopping. They're like, do you want a basket? Do you want this? They're asking me about myself. They were just so nice. Like Barnes and Noble staff, amazing. They were amazing staff. The activities that they made for this was actually great activities. The products they made, these tattoos thingies, I don't know what it is called, eye sticker, beautiful. Like a lot of thought was put into this. The spin the wheel to get like these prizes, it was more than I expected. I thought we would just go in, have a Q&A, and like that's it. So I was happy. However, one thing I did not like is like we were not allowed to leave until midnight because the book is releasing at midnight. So if you want your copy of the book, which comes with the ticket, you need to wait until midnight because obviously you cannot have a book before it releases. So I feel like everything kind of finished by like 11:20 p.m. and well, my Q&A session finished at like 10:30 p.m. or 10:40 p.m. but I wasn't allowed to leave until midnight. Imagine. So for me, like the bookstore was really hot. Even though outside in New York it's super cold, inside, I don't know, the heater or whatever, it was so hot, and I was wearing many layers because obviously I walked there to the bookstore for 20 minutes in the cold. So I'm wearing like heat tech, I'm wearing like thermal leggings and whatever. And in the bookstore, I was literally about to die when I had to wait like an hour to get out. And I was like removing everything because we're not allowed to leave, but like everyone's already done with the activities, but we're not allowed to leave. So people are like sitting on the floor for an hour just waiting, and we're sitting on the floor in a line. Well, most people were standing. I was sitting because I couldn't stand anymore because I had period cramps. And I couldn't even take medicine because I didn't have water, and the Barnes & Noble cafe was already closed. So I was just in pain. It was so hot. Like I wanted to faint, but I just had to like keep waiting until midnight. And I literally was almost like, if you don't let me out right now with the book, like I'm gonna die. But I was like, just sit, like stay calm. It's okay. Take out more layers. Breathe. It's okay. It's almost time. But I swear, I was about to be like, let us all out right now. I'm sure you can go out, but I don't know if you'll get your book because it releases at midnight. So I thought that at least the line was like moving, but I was like, why did the line not move in so long? And then someone beside me was telling the person next to him like, oh, the line's not going to move until midnight because that's when they're letting people out. And that was at 11:20 p.m. and I was like, 40 more minutes of like feeling like I'm about to die. But it actually ended up being kind of cute later when it was like 10 seconds to midnight and Tahereh Mafi was on, I don't know, she was on like the speaker. She wasn't there physically at that point. I think maybe she left, but the staff had her on speaker or something, and she was counting down with us. She was like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then everyone was like, yay, because the book was released. And then we were allowed to go out. And then when I got the book, which I filmed, it was kind of a moment of like, I got the book and it's midnight, so the book is officially released now when I get it. So it wouldn't have been the same if it was like 11:30 p.m. when I got the book and it's not even released yet. So I understand why they did that. It feels more like impactful to get it the time that it's released. But still, like, I was so exhausted. I feel like everyone was so exhausted because the event was from 9 p.m. 3 hours. I feel like we were exhausted, and like I think a lot of us wanted to go home. Anyway, when it was midnight, I was like, thank God. I took the book. I was so happy, and then I walked home, and it started raining, and I was walking home in the rain. And I think that's how my Unravel Me book got squished, because I was trying to hide it underneath my coat in my tote bag, and then I think it got squished. I feel like I look like I'm complaining, but I actually had a really good time. I'm just not talking about the good stuff because I'm literally exhausted, and like sitting on the floor for almost an hour in the heat, like it literally made me want to die. I felt like, oh my God, you know what? I saw Ransom Riggs, which was pretty cool. I was just watching her, and then I was like, wait. And then it was Ransom Riggs, and I was like, oh my God. And I feel like nobody in the whole place knew who Ransom Riggs was, and I was literally there like, I read your book in high school in grade 9 as part of like my English literature course, and I had to like analyze your book, and it was really weird, and like I feel like nobody knew who he was. And then Tahereh Mafi was like, oh yeah, this is my husband Ransom Riggs, maybe you know him because he wrote Miss Pigran's Home for the Peculiar Children. And I wanted to be like, woo, but literally everyone was silent, and I was like, oh, like you guys don't know him, okay. But I wanted to show him that like, bro, I love your book, but nobody made any noise, and I was like, okay, nobody here knows Ransom Riggs. But it was really cool. Like, you pay to see one author and you see 2 authors, and I almost went up to him and I almost was like, can you please sign my Shatter Me arc, because I don't have access to Tahereh Mafi, but I had access to Ransom Riggs anyway. I was almost to be like, sign my Shatter Me arc, but I didn't want it signed by Ransom Riggs, so anyway, I wanted it signed by her, but it was okay. And then when she left the stage, me and her, like, she would walk right past me, because, like, I was going down the stairs here, but she was walking down this aisle, and then she was, like, smiling and waving at us, and I was like, oh my God. But anyway, thank you for watching my video. I had a really good time actually. I can't believe that well, I can't say meet because like I didn't talk to her, but she kind of talked to me, you know? So I can't believe I met her after reading her books for over a decade. Over a decade. That was crazy. Thanks for watching. Bye.